Tate Shiho Gatame, straddle hold. This is a common, also known as like the mount position in BJJ. It's a good self-defense pin. It's a good position to get in. For judo, it's a strong pin. It's not a pin I typically like to go through with my students. But again, we use this off of changing our hold downs to kind of finish an entire pin series. But it's important that you understand how to do it, because for others, they absolutely love this pin. They think it's like their favorite go-to. I'm personally a Shiho Gatame guy myself, but that's just me. But with Tate Shiho Gatame, again, think of just the mount. You're on top of your partner. You're gonna take, doesn't matter which arm, you should be able to do it with both, across their face. You're gonna scoop their head, your feet. The traditional Japanese way is to grapevine your legs and your toes through their feet. Hands gonna post out for stability. Your head is gonna push their arm into their face. Your hand's gonna squeeze here, nice and tight. Okay, traditional, head that way. Traditional straddle hold, I'm on top. Grapevine your toes, arm across the face, scoop the head, drive your head into their arm. This hand's posted out here for stability, and I'm looking down, arching my hips on the inside, so I have control of my partner. Here, flexing my toes out. And then obviously I have full control of my opponent, making sure I have a nice strong pin. There are some modifications to this. Obviously, you can do like a gable grip here on the inside, and you really wrench on that head if you want to. Gable grip is just when you put your hands together, turn, grab your thumb here and squeeze. You can also bring your hips up and kind of pinch your knees together, so you're not grapevining, but you have your heels in their, in the hamstrings more or less, so you have control here. And that's all personal preference. Personally, I feel most comfortable when my legs are flexed out, so I have a nice strong pin so they can't go anywhere. When I pin someone, I like to make sure they're immobile so they can't move. But it's all personal preference, making sure that you're driving that. This head needs to be used as like another appendage, right? You're gonna push that arm right in front of their face, make them really uncomfortable. Okay, you can bury that head if you need to, but you want to make sure that that arm is being pushed right into their face, nice and strong, and you can drive your other shoulder into their face. And if you want a gable grip, you can just really kind of pop their head like a little pimple this way, so they have nowhere to go. But when we're training and drilling, we want to take care of our partners because they help us, they make us look good, and ultimately help us get better. But with Tate Shiho Gatame, the trick is you don't want your hips too high, or you don't want your hips too low, because again, you gotta find that sweet center point, because if you're too high, they can usually bridge and roll you one way. If you're too low, then same thing, they can move their upper body like it's nobody's business. So you gotta kind of find that sweet spot. To do that, it's really gonna depend, like my partner's pretty tall, so the sweet spot for him is gonna be a little bit different. So, but when he's laying down, on this way, yep. You'll find, specifically if you're not grapevining the legs, right? If you're just here, like I'm kind of right on top, chest to chest, belly on belly. I'd even say our belt loops are touching. This is kind of the sweet spot for people. And then obviously when I have my feet grapevine this way, I'm gonna be a little bit lower because now I have some more room, but I can flex those toes out to nullify his legs so he can't actually move or anything like that. But it's important though, that regardless of where we are, because if we're too high, even if I'm posting this hand this way or I'm just squeezing, if my partner, he can roll me a lot more this way, obviously. So you gotta be aware where to post, what to do, make sure you have those pins, this pin nice and tight. So personal favorite for me, grapevine, flex the toes out, post that arm for stability, use that shoulder in your head to really squeeze his face, make him uncomfortable, and make sure he doesn't go anywhere with Tate Shiho Gatame. Other than that, it's just making sure, like all the other pins, there's no space. Ultimately, if you can keep them on their back the entire time, you can make them uncomfortable, you will be able to make sure that they don't move anywhere. And that's with Tate Shiho Gatame. Straddle hold.